On Petta Wash Day. Yeah, Lakota for hello. We were reaching for that one. All right.
It's a theme.
Traveling Dirty, part 3 of the good, the badass, and the ugly. So badass things that we did. Last video was good things, and these are even better than the good things.
Yes, that's why they're badass.
That's why they're badass.
Sorry if you have kids watching this.
Yeah, ass. We're going to say ass a lot. Badass, Badlands.
Badlands and grasslands.
And grasslands. Grassland, Badland, Badass, Bad Grass. All of it.
All of it. All of it together.
We could almost wrap this one, I think, if we tried hard enough. So the Badlands, very cool. What were your thoughts on that?
On the Badlands?
Yeah.
They're beautiful. It's interesting because it's I don't know, it's like I grew up in the Smoky Mountains, so seeing these mountains, but they don't have trees and grass, they're just the rocks, and it's really pretty in the coloring, and to be able to see, like, you can tell different eras in time based on the coloring of the rocks as they go up and change, and pretty amazing. I can't imagine being a settler in the days and coming across that. Look, I'm done. I'm here.
Yeah. Yeah, just very cool formations.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell it's all from erosion, but when you're on the road on top of it, you look around and there's not a mountain for miles. So
right.
It's like, at some point, this whole thing there was a big river here, there was an ocean here, there was something that carved it. That's not there now because there's no water anywhere around it now.
Yeah.
But yeah, just very cool, and they had the road cut through it, so a nice 20-mile drive. Somebody wants to be on camera today. 20-mile drive through the whole park, so you're at the top of it, the bottom of it, weaving all through it. There was the one
you
area.
go through part of the grasslands, and it's just grass.
Grasslands. It's grass for miles. It's very cool because they actually connect right next to each other. We kind of took a dirt road the back way into it, so we drove through the grasslands, and it's just grass. Like, wow, grass forever. And oh wait, there's the Badlands. You just kind of pop out right in front of you. So it's two very different things right next to each other.
Yes.
There was the one spot in the Badlands, most of it just rock, like sandstone, and there was one area that had just this patch of green and grass, like up at the top. It was just
so odd.
really out of place, but made for a good sight and a good picture. So those were definitely cool. What else did we do?
We saw the sheep,
mountain goats. Mountain goats, the bighorn sheep.
Thank you. We'll get it out in a minute. They had traffic backed up luckily at like a pull-in area for taking pictures of the views and stuff. So everybody was out taking pictures. Of course, there's stupid people that get really close, so we just sat back, kind of hoping
to get some video of them getting
or something.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No such luck.
No, but really cool to see that.
Very cool. 2 or 3 of them with tracking devices around their neck, so they can kind of follow the herd and track it and make sure it's doing well and healthy. So that was cool to see. Badlands, grasslands, definitely don't do the grasslands by itself. They have to be a combination. The grasslands are a bit boring, but it's kind of cool when you make that transition out of the one into the other. Very cool thing we did was the Crazy Horse Monument.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it is. If you're not aware of this, maybe we'll show you pictures. You don't need to Google it. But it's based on the Indian Crazy Horse, which there are actually no known pictures of Crazy Horse. So this whole thing is designed off of stories told about him, basically like a police sketch. Different people that knew him telling people about him, and an artist made this thing. It is not done. I'm not sure that it'll ever be done. It is really just his face right now, but he'll be on a horse with his arm pointing out from the mountain, and it is the largest carving of its type in the world. It dwarfs Mount Rushmore.
And the important thing to note here is the reason it's taking so long to build is that the family of the sculptor keeps the foundation, and they don't take any grants or funding from government. They do it all off of donations and your visits to the park and so forth. So that's why it seems to take a little longer, because obviously they have to get donations and
yeah,
things to move
they've
forward,
refused huge amounts of government
Yeah.
money to. They just kind of feel, Crazy Horse was a. He stood up to the
Labor of love
government.
for the
Yeah, he stood up to the
Crazy
government, and they
Horse,
don't want to accept government money to help this get done.
But
Three,
really
four
cool.
buildings
Yeah.
attached to it
Yeah.
with a lot of Native American artifacts.
The sculptor's original
sculptor's workshop.
art workshop is there. They built around it, so when you walk in, it's low ceilings. It's really the actual workshop, but they've built and protected it. So a lot of their stuff's in
And a
there.
lot of his other work is in there as well.
Yes.
So you can see different things besides that. We got to go twice a year. They do a ceremonial blasting on the mountain. So they have the big laser light show, which I think they do that on the side of the mountain like most Fridays, but twice a year, ceremonial blasting. So after the laser light show, basically watching kind of fireworks and blasting go off on the mountain. None of it doing any actual blasting. It's all faux and ceremonial. But very cool that we got to be there on one of the 2 nights of the year that they do that.
The only downside, but this was still badass. The only downside, it was raining, like hard raining. It wasn't too bad when we got there, and then it just started to get worse and worse. And so they had an area where you're kind of a little further away than what I would want to be, but it was covered and dry, and we could watch the laser lights and so forth. And then because of the rain, when the blasting started, you'll see as the video's going, the fire comes up, and then it's immediately kind of going out because the rain's putting it right back out. So if you go online, you'll see other videos of it where it burns for a little while. We unfortunately didn't get to see that, but that was still really cool experience. So check it out.
Very cool. The history of Crazy Horse is something to take a quick look at too. He definitely was one of the Indians who stood up to the American people, and we probably need more people like him now. I'm going to put an asterisk by this next one because we had to travel back into Wyoming.
Traveling Dirty, coming live from Devil's Tower. We're going to go check it out and hike a little, see if we see aliens and so forth. So, ta-da!
To go see the Devil's Tower.
Yes.
What'd you think of that?
It's very cool. It's very cool. It's a big lava-formed rock thing. Dome.
The rest of everything wore away, and it didn't. Just
Yeah.
giant, basically piece of lava sticking out of the ground. We did a hike around it. It was about what, three miles basically.
Almost 4, yeah,
Almost
like 3.5
4.
miles around the outside base. There's one that's the inside base, and then we did the outside base. And I didn't make them do the French River one, which went even further around. Beautiful views.
Yeah, going around it. One area was a lot of like red rocks and clay, and it had a great view, but it kind of makes you think that there probably was a lot of really loose red dirt and clay around this whole thing at one time, and something volcanic in the earth happened, and it made a solid rock, and all this red clay just kind of washed away over time, leaving it sticking out of the ground. So very cool views. We found a skeleton from a recent, I don't know, bobcat, wildcat, something kill on the trail. Some animal just had a great meal very recently. Saw some deer, little red squirrels. What else did we see? Anything else?
No snakes, so that was good.
No snakes. A ton of sage grows around there too.
Yes.
It was,
Yes. It was really cool because we started out in kind of like a foresty area. Then we came around and we hit the red clay area. And then as we came back around, it's like suddenly we're in a field. It was just grassy field area. So it was interesting, like almost felt like Hunger Games in the different areas we were going. And it was really amazing. Good day to go do it on. So
did not see any
People
aliens,
were
like close
climbing
encounters.
it.
People were climbing it.
rock climbing on it.
Rock climbing. Yeah, you could go so far, and it said, like, here's a painted line. If you go past this, you need a permit, So I guess the rock climbers got to go check in and get approval to go up there.
Oh, and then the Indians tie the materials on the different trees.
Prayer trees, they call
Prayer
them.
trees, thank you.
Yes, a lot of material tied around there. Sacred place for a lot of the natives around there. So that was definitely very cool, and you know,
Yes.
you get to see it kind of 15 miles away as you're driving in, and it just goes away under the hill and comes back, and you're getting closer. So just definitely a really cool sight to see.
It's gorgeous.
Glad we went there. The next thing I'm gonna let you squee and
Squee! Prairie Dog Ranch! It's in South Dakota. It's amazing. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, those prairie dogs are so big. They eat peanuts all day. People feed them. Why wouldn't they be? You can go there, you can buy the peanuts, and then you can walk out to the field, and they're everywhere. They're amazing. I sat down, they came up to me. Steve sat down, they came up to him. One came over and touched my foot. It was truly amazing watching them eat. They're so freaking cute. I wish I could have gotten one in the car. I was a little nervous to grab that I might get bit and have rabies, so I played it cool, but they're used to humans, so they'll come out and about. But definitely a place to go visit. You got to go. It's free, and you pay $1 to buy a bag of peanuts.
it was a natural prairie dog field habitat, and they put a fence probably like 2/3 of the way through it. So if the prairie dogs didn't want to come up to you, they could go to the other side of the fence and avoid human contact. But the ones that figured out free food, they're all on the other side and happy to come up to you. Also home of the world's largest prairie dog.
Yes.
Just if you're watching this and you don't know, I'm about 6'4", so when you see that picture of me in front of it, that'll give you some scale of how big that thing is. So that was very cool. We got the world's biggest and actual prairie dogs all in one visit. Cool little gift shop attached to it as well, and that was
we
kind
just
of
got
it.
T-shirts.
Got T-shirts.
With Prairie Dog.
Prairie Dog Town, Waldrog, Badlands, Grasslands, all right in. You can do all of those in one day, one trip.
It's a lot of riding, but it's fun.
Yeah.
So break it up where you.
They're all very close together, though, so we kind of went in the back way so we could dip out halfway, go to Waldrug and have a snack, come back at the Prairie Dog Town and before we drove through the Badlands. So if you kind of do it that way, you got a rest stop in the middle with the Waldrug. Otherwise, you got to do the whole loop.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
those things very close together. Last thing on the list, we went to the Custer State Park. This was a huge wildlife loop, maybe another 18 to 30 miles. Got to sit in the middle of a huge buffalo herd that went right by the car on both sides. Very cool to see.
Big babies, all of them.
Yes. We've actually seen quite a few buffaloes since, but this was the first time we got to see them, and it was a pretty massive. This is the biggest herd we've ever been around. So it was kind of.
It was a friendly herd. They all just calmly walked by.
Were on their way, but you certainly weren't moving your car anywhere until they were done and gone. So that was a very cool experience.
Yes.
I love that. We also saw more pronghorns in there.
They have the wild donkeys.
Wild donkeys.
Friendly wild donkeys.
Yes, they're not really wild anymore. They're actually tame and begging people for food.
Yeah.
So that was...
we pulled off and had some treats for them, and other people did as well. And we almost lost our passenger side mirror.
Yeah, one of them starts doing this, rubbing his back on the mirror, and the mirror's just flexing, and I'm like, all right, time to move, before he breaks my mirror off.
Very fun, though. They're very friendly, very sweet. Of course, I got licked by one.
Yeah.
That's okay.
So we read, like, the morning was the best time to go, that the animals are usually more active, so we went out in the morning, and we got lucky. There's other people in the reviews. We didn't see anything, or we saw them 2 miles over there, but we couldn't really see anything, so we got pretty fortunate that the whole herd just crossed right where we were driving when we went in the place. Beautiful scenic view.
Drive,
everywhere we went in Custer, Deadwood up to Rapid City. It's just a lot of hills,
trees, water, creeks.
Yeah, just beautiful views. Wild turkeys walking around in places, deer, just a ton of nature. One of the places that, I wish I had a motorcycle. It would be great riding through that part of the country, the Black Hills. Just all of it. Maybe not a motorcycle during a buffalo herd. I'm gonna stick with the truck then.
Yeah.
But a lot of the places it was just relaxing and enjoyable just to drive around that part of the country.
I would say the town of Custer, that area overall, is badass.
Yes, very badass.
I definitely want to go back in the summer when we could play in the lakes. They have some beautiful lakes and do some more hiking. We had some rain that kind of cut down on some of the things we wanted to do, so we didn't get to. I didn't get to hike as much as I would like, so that's okay. But overall, beautiful area.
Yes. RV park we stayed at was the folks there were just super friendly and helpful.
Beaver Lake Campground.
Beaver Lake Campground. We had like 90 packages from Amazon come in because it was a month long, so we had to order stuff we needed. They were happy to bring it in, and I think eventually they just told the FedEx truck just to stop at our slot, not at the house. But
he went by anyway, so.
Yeah. They had a huge dog park. They were able to put us actually right by it, so we didn't have too far of a walk to take the dogs and let them go handle their business. They loved that park. They were running all over the place. And,
yeah.
Huge park for them to run in. And good walking around there. You did see a snake around there, didn't you?
I saw like 3 snakes. Dear God, I was ready to go.
But yeah, one of the guys that worked there would play guitar. We didn't actually get to go. We were kind of busy on the nights he was playing, but once a week he would do a little guitar and singing. So they had some entertainment. We did on the water slide.
It's surprising I didn't get kicked out when I went down because I said every cuss word screaming the whole way with kids all around.
They had a pool and a big water slide, and they charged extra for the water slide, but it was the last day of the season. They were going to close the pool. So last day, the slide's free. So
Labor Day.
We decided to drag our 40-something-year-old bodies up there and slide down the slide. And
I wasn't going to do it until a sweet little 5-year-old girl goes, "There's nothing to be scared of." So then I had to go.
Yeah, little 5-year-old just dropped your punk card. You going to pick that up?
I did. I did. And then I cussed and screamed the whole way down.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
And then thought about doing it again. So.
No, I didn't. Yeah. So that's our badass adventures.
Yes.
So what was your favorite thing?
I think the buffalo herd was probably my favorite thing, but all of it was, if the Badlands moved or was alive like an animal, that would be. But it's just stationary. So
there were buffaloes in the Badlands.
There were buffalo there as well
seen
too.
A herd there.
Yeah, so I mean, it's hard to call a favorite thing. I would say that Custer, it was just a nice wildlife trip, and I enjoyed that. How about you?
Duh. Squee, prairie dog!
Yeah, we did find more wild prairie dogs at Devil's Tower. There's some right at the bottom of that, so we've seen quite a few prairie dogs along the way here.
Yeah.
And I have to frisk her every time we pass them just to make sure there's no prairie dogs hiding that she's trying to bring home with us. Is that a prairie dog in your pocket?
Uh-huh. So, alright.
Alright, so
where are we heading next?
We were going to Nebraska. I think we already told folks we're in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
We had a stop in Nebraska. And a one-nighter in Kansas. I'm not sure if we're counting Kansas as somewhere we visited
No,
yet.
we had a one-nighter in Ogallala, Nebraska.
Yes, and then we had a week,
2
weeks between Lincoln and Omaha. So next video we'll be telling you about Nebraska, and here's a hint: there's corn there. There's a ton of corn.
And snakes.
Oh yeah, snakes too. All right, so next adventure from Nebraska. Till then,
keep traveling dirty.